People don't talk enough about the silence after someone dies. When my husband John passed away in 2018, I thought the hardest part would be the grief, the funeral, the empty bed. But it wasn't. It was the silence. The kind of silence that crawls under your skin. That turns into a presence. That makes the hum of the fridge sound like a whisper. Like someone is talking. Like someone is breathing. I live in a quiet part of Pennsylvania. A little town near the Allegheny Forest. One post office. One diner. A few thousand people, most of them retired. I've lived here for 37 years. I know every neighbor, every sidewalk crack, every shift in the wind. That's why I knew something changed. It started in November. The air was getting colder, and I'd just started decorating the house for the holidays. John used to do that. I kept it simple. One red wreath on the door, a candle in the kitchen window, and a few small lights on the banister. That day I wore my red cardigan and sat on the front porch for maybe 10 minutes with a cup of tea. That's all. Just enjoying the cold. That evening, I found the first note. "You look nice today. Red suits you?" There was no envelope. Just a torn, crumpled piece of paper shoved halfway into my mailbox. I stared at it, my fingers going cold. I thought, someone's messing with me. But something about the handwriting felt unstable, shaky, like it was written in a rush or by someone not entirely well. I locked the doors, closed the curtains, turned on every light in the house. Then I told myself I was being paranoid. The second note came the next day. "I like the way you stir your tea. You always do it clockwise." I dropped it when I read that. That's not something anyone would guess. It's not something you'd notice unless you were watching closely. Too closely. That was the night I started hearing footsteps outside. At first I thought it was deer. We get them often, especially in the fall. But these footsteps were heavy, pacing, human. I stood in the dark upstairs hallway, staring through the curtains down at my driveway. Nothing. Then the motion light flickered on. No wind, no movement, just light. I called the sheriff the next day. He was polite if unconvinced, said it was probably some punk kid playing Halloween pranks late. When I showed him the notes, he just raised an eyebrow. Not a threat, he said, just weird. 2 nights later, at 2:47 a.m., I heard the knocks. Slow, deliberate, measured. I froze in bed. My fingers dug into the sheets. I wanted to scream, but I couldn't even breathe. It wasn't just the sound. It was what came after. Silence. Not normal silence. That kind that feels watched. That makes you too afraid to even blink. I didn't move until the sun came up. When I opened the door the next morning, there was nothing there except a photograph, a picture of me, taken from outside the window. I was asleep. I stopped sleeping after that. I installed cameras. I bought motion sensors, extra locks, alarms. I slept with a knife under my pillow and left a bat by the door. I even slept in the living room so I could hear if something moved. The police came again, reviewed footage. Nothing. It was like whoever he was, he knew exactly how to avoid being seen. And yet, the notes kept coming. "You left the light on in the laundry room. You're getting forgetful. You looked at the back window for 32 seconds last night. Why? I like when you hum. You did it at 4:13. He was watching me every second. One night, I turned on all the outside floodlights and stood on the porch with a flashlight. I screamed into the trees. I know you're out there. Leave me alone. The woods didn't answer, but someone left another note. I like your voice when you're angry. The worst part? I started questioning myself. I'd forget where I put things. Doors I thought I locked would be unlocked. A dish I didn't remember using would be in the sink. I started doubting my own sanity, but I knew what I heard. I knew what I saw. The last night I spent in that house was February 17th. I'll never forget it. It was snowing. The roads were silent. I'd taken sleeping pills trying to force myself into at least a few hours of rest. At 2:47 a.m., knock, knock, knock. I sat up like a shot. My body moved before my mind did. I grabbed my flashlight and crept toward the stairs. The front door had a shadow beneath it. Someone was standing there. I held my breath. Every cell in my body screamed to hide, to run, to do something. Then, a voice, whispering, muffled, right on the other side of the door. I think we're ready now. Open the door. I didn't. I backed away, slowly, silently, into the kitchen. I dialed 911. By the time they arrived, the shadow was gone, but the snow revealed footprints leading to my door, not away from it. I sold the house that spring, moved across the country, changed my number. I don't tell people where I live. I still hear 3 knocks sometimes in my dreams, on the walls at night, in the silence between breaths. And I wonder if he followed me, or if someone else is watching now. Because once they find you, they don't always stop.